Hey guys, Trevor Rowe here,
And Matt.
and today we're going to be talking about, finally, the Necron Codex. Sorry for the delay, guys, some technical difficulties.
Yeah, technical. Technically, they're Necrons. There's the difficulty.
They're machines, I can say technical difficulties and it makes sense.
Ah, it's so fluffy.
Is it? I don't know.
Alright, so where do we want to start?
Alright,
the
let's start at the very
beginning?
beginning.
A very good place to start.
Yeah. In 400 BC, the first Necron was discovered in California.
Wait, 400B? What?
Anyway,
So
let's start at the top.
Do we start with units or we go?
Let's start with just HQs in general.
Okay, so some HQ guys. Overlord's in here, obviously. The big thing is a lot of the relics and stuff changed.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll get into that a little bit. Overlords and Lords still there. Okay, they are what they are.
Catacomb command barges got worse.
Yes, they're no longer an upgrade. They're an entry. We'll get to that in a little bit. Cryptex are now no longer a royal court. There's nothing like that anymore. They're now just a chosen HQ. They're actually more points than a lord because they get to bring some different stuff. They're a little bit better, like a stat line overall. Okay. Still don't know how many if you're really gonna be taking them, just because the access to Haywire went away a lot.
You'll see them less. You still might see them.
Yeah, you might. I don't know.
There's a real saucy option that I think we'll
Okay.
be
Well,
seeing a
true.
lot.
We'll see that. Destroyer Lord, he's still there. He's
A
still
little
Lord.
weird that it's his own entry. I really feel like it should be part of just the Lord or
Yeah.
Overlord, but whatever. Nitpicking, I guess.
He can't get a 2-up armor,
Nope.
so we'll get to that a little bit more. But that's a big thing.
Yep.
So then the name guys.
A lot of them.
A lot of them, and pretty much all of them went down in points.
Always a good thing to say.
Yeah, I guess.
Some of them got a lot better. One.
Yes.
One in particular.
So Xandrak, he's one of the few guys who actually has a 2-up armor save in this whole book. So normal Stavalite, phase shifter, nothing huge, nothing really big different. And the big thing he gets to do is he gets to steal USRs from enemies around him. So like if he gets the counterattack, furious charge, hit and run, split fire, stealth, tank hunter, if some enemy within 24 inches has that ability, which is kind of neat.
He lost a little. He lost like the give and take. It's a little bit worse, but it's okay.
Yeah. Oberon, you're gonna see a decent amount of Oberon.
Yep.
Mostly because he gets Ghostwalk Mantle, he gets the gate around the table. Very important for.
He gets to do Oberon things.
Yeah, very important for one of the big builds you're going to see him with. And we don't want to sit here and go through all these, but we'll look. The big highlight, I think, as a plus, is Oracan the Diviner.
Oh yeah.
He went down in points. He's 120 points. So, reanimation protocols got changed. It is no longer a get back up. It is now pretty much a feel no pain.
It's a better feeling.
Yes. After failing a save, you take a roll on a 5+. You ignore the wound. The cool thing is, if something would instant death you don't lose the feel no pain. It just gets -1.
Yep.
The other cool thing is, there's a lot of guys who improve that. So Oracan is one of that. Oracan gives +1 to the bonus for anyone in his unit, and he also lets you reroll 1s. So you put them in a unit, and now it's
real good.
4-up, rerolling 1, feel no pain.
Important note for those of you who haven't actually gotten your hands on the book yet to really take a look at it. Your reanimation protocols can't get better than a 4-up.
Yes, very important. Good
So,
point.
don't think about stacking these guys going down to like a 2-up or something ridiculous.
2-up rerolling 1s. It's great. And then Oracan still gets to do his man mode.
Which stays on for the rest of the game now. You can't lose it.
Yes, he is the man mode. Anki the Traveler pretty much did the same thing. Still screws with vehicles.
Yep.
Trazan, however the heck you pronounce it. Not much change for him. And then the big one, Catacomb command barges. They are their own entry now.
Yep.
One of the reasons they got hurt is because you can no longer get that 2-up upgrade on the Overlord inside. Like, that was always a big thing. It's 2-up, and then the 3-up invuln that gives to everything. So it's like, oh, I have a 2-up armor or a 3-up invuln on my vehicle. Okay.
They're still good.
Yeah.
They went down in points, but you did lose that.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're more than likely, if you're going to see them, it's just because people had them. But they're
Yeah.
not bad. They're just not.
Because you really don't want to run them as
ridiculous.
Annihilation Barges either.
Also that.
With that. Warriors, I think this is one of the quiet nerfs this codex really took, and it's because warriors have to be a 10-man.
Yep.
And you might go, oh, why is that bad? It's because when you take a Ghost Arc, what you want to take, because Ghost Arcs are fantastic, because they went down in points, you want to take this cool Ghost Arc guy, but you can't put a character in with them, because Ghost Arc capacity is 10.
Yeah, it's kind of a letdown.
Otherwise, their points stay the same.
For what it's worth, with the rest of the book, I like big warrior squads better than I did last book.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Gauss, now wounds on a 6, always, no matter what.
Yeah, in addition to the glancing
Yeah,
on a
still
6,
glancing on a
always
6.
wounds on a 6.
Yep.
So, I mean, you can shoot down a Wraith Knight with warriors.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool.
Tesla got changed. The only thing changed with Tesla is that you don't get the benefit of Tesla on snapshots.
Yeah, it deals with some of the screwy rules, especially with the flyers.
Yeah, like
when you
Annihilation,
have the-
like, oh, I jiggle my Night Scythe and just dunk wounds into you anyway.
Yep.
My Annihilation bar just shooting at something flying. Oh, okay, who cares? I want 6s anyway.
Or my flyer is shooting something on the ground, but I'm going to choose to shoot it as Skyfire, so I have to snapshot. Yeah, it's silly. Glad they cleared that up.
So there's a lot of random decent units in here. Lich Guard, they're here. Still not bad. Come base with a War Scythe, 125 points. You can easily get them the swap out where they get the dispersion shields. They have a 3-up invuln save, and the sword.
I think it's a lot of going to be what we've seen with a lot of 7th edition codexes, that a lot of the things are good, they're just not necessarily great.
Yeah, yeah. Everything has a place. Like this, I will say, of all the codexes, this is probably one of the few. This and Blood Angels, where almost every unit entry has a place.
Yeah.
Blood Angels had some issues with the vehicles, and so does this. But like every troop infantry model has a place in this book.
Yeah.
And you're willing to take all of them at some point in time. So, Death Marks, the Hunter from Hyperspace Chains, they kind of have that counter thing. They have a counter now. So instead of when you come in, you get to mark for that something, it's now when something enters, you can, or something deep strike in, you can counter deep strike. And they don't get to intercept you.
Yeah, it's true.
Because intercept says in your movement phase.
Yeah, your opponent's movement phase. And so if you come in on your opponent's turn, they can't shoot you, so tau.
Yeah. Flayed ones were quietly really good. Because they have Shred.
Okay.
They have Shred.
Really good might be pushing it.
65 points for 5 models base.
Okay.
They have 3 base attacks, 2 Flare Call gives them 4 attacks, a 5th attack on the charge with Shred.
Yeah, they're good.
They're real cheap. 13 points a model. I mean, they're right. They're not fantastic, but again, it's that mindset of everything in this book is decent.
Yeah.
And
all
these
reminder,
troop choices are...
They have better feel no pain, so anything that looks like the points might be, good, it's just that much better because you have feel no pain on top of it.
Wherever your book has feel no pain, pretty much. Triarch Praetorians. They're Triarch Praetorians.
Meh.
They didn't change much.
Not excited.
Triarch Stalkers were interesting. So now instead of twin linking where they shoot at, just they make a bubble. Everything within 6 inches gets +1 blood 6 skill.
Yep. I do like
bad.
They have the double tap multi melta, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's cool. I definitely like multi meltas right now in general, and anything that can shoot it twice, and you can take them in units.
They can be they can squadron up to 3 in a unit. So now the Satans have made their way, including the Transcendent. We'll talk about 3 there. So Transcendent Satan, I don't think you're ever gonna take. So I don't think you're gonna take it, but so Satans have this thing Satan power, and here's the problem with Satans: they're a little too random. They've got a cool chart, and at the start of the shooting phase, they choose a target, and this is the important wording: choose a target. Then roll on the chart and take whatever that shooting attack is against the target. And that's the problem with them. If it said roll a d6 and then choose a target, I think I'd be okay with it. Because the problem is on their chart of powers, half of them are really good against vehicles and half of them are really good against infantry. And of course, it's always going to work out. You're going to target infantry, you're going to roll the vehicle one. Or you're going to target a vehicle, you're going to roll the infantry one. And then you're kind of screwed because you get a random power. And the other big thing is they're only 4 wounds.
Yeah.
For only toughness 7 the 4 save, Tal will eat these guys alive.
That's for sure. What is important to note about the shooting powers, at least they gave them all the same range and thought that one out. You can't choose a target and then find out you're not in range of it at all, so you're still going to do something.
Yeah.
Ish.
If you're going to take one, I think the Nightbringer's the best, because the Nightbringer's second ability, he gets a pretty much buffed up Psychic Streak mixed with Life Leech. He just targets a unit that take a leadership check on 3d6. You gain wounds back for every wound that they lost.
It's a short range though, right? 12
20,
or something?
I think it's 24.
Is it really?
12.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
you're right. So, okay. He's the one I would take if you have to take one.
They're okay. They're just a little points heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of points heavy, Night Sights went up 25 points.
I don't think anybody's too surprised.
Yeah, 130 now, screwed. Ghost Arcs went down.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm on board with Ghost Arcs. One of the big things, I don't know if it's an oversight, so they have the Gauss Flare arrays that have salvo rule.
Okay.
And to the best of my knowledge, the only things that can take Gauss Flare arrays are things that are always relentless anyway. So why the F do they have the salvo rule when it doesn't matter? The cool thing is, so there's salvo 5-10. So as before, where you need to be in rapid fire range to get those 10 shots, you just always have 10 shots.
I'm almost hoping, crossing my fingers, that they're kind of planning for future, because that would be a good like design philosophy in case they ever allow like a formation to take some of these.
Designing
I know.
for future.
I can hope that they're thinking ahead.
No. So sticking with fast attacks. Oh, and obviously the Night Scythe and the Ghost Arc got that same treatment as like drop pods. You can just take them as lone things, stuff like that.
Hey, maybe one day Necrons will have Battle Brothers. That can get in.
Fancy.
Cool.
Actually, they can't, because for Ghost Arcs at least, because Ghost Arcs specifically say they can only hold Necron characters and Necron warriors, no immortals. Ghost Arcs have clearly said just a few. So let's Canoptic Wraith. Probably
I don't play Necrons. Do I have to?
Probably the MVP of the book. Toughness 5, finally. We no longer die to missile launchers. Thank you. Because that was always the bane of Necron of these existence. Oh, you've got a missile launcher Longfang squad?
Or a little more recently, Knights.
Yeah, everything's strength 8. Melt the guns. So they're toughness 10. Or toughness 5. So
Toughness 10. They're so much better than they were.
3 up armor, 3 up invuln still. They went down in points.
Yep.
They still have rending. They are beasts now also, which means if you leave them by themselves, they have fleet. The biggest question now is, are you ever actually going to put a Destroyer Lord with them? Destroyer Lord can't get 2 up the tank in front. He doesn't confer reanimation protocols, and Canoptic Wraiths don't have reanimation protocols. So, my vote's no. I think these guys as just 6-man units of doom are great. Whip coils now, I think, are almost an auto take. They're now 3 points apiece, and all they do is plus your initiative.
Yeah. So now you're going at what? Initiative 6, right?
Yes. Plus 4 to your initiative.
So you're going faster than basically anything out there. You're going faster than Eldar at their I-5. Definitely important. Lots of attacks, lots of rending. The only time I think you might add a character is, you know, kind of just daisy chaining one in the back on a charge you think you're going to make.
Exactly. So yeah, you're going to just jump guys in, make a charge. Scarabs went up in points, but instead of eating armor now they just auto wound, auto glance on 6s. So I do think that's better as a whole. They went up in attacks, but the problem is they went up in points and they lost it. They went down in armor save. They're now 6 up instead of 5 up. I think they took a hit.
Overall, I'm not the biggest fan. I do like being able to kill monstrous creatures a little bit easier.
I agree. And Tomb Spiders are still there.
They went up 2, I believe, though, right?
No, they're identical.
Okay.
Nothing has changed. And you will see there are some reasons to take a lot of stuff as we get into the formations, because the formations are very weird in this book. Tomb Blades got better.
I actually really like these guys now.
Yeah, they went up to toughness. They were always toughness 5, I guess. No, they went up to T5. But they can take an upgrade that they gives them ignore cover. They're good. And you're gonna see probably a lot of 3-man units these running around, and we'll explain when we get to detachments. Destroyers,
they're cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
T5, 2 wounds.
Yeah, that extra wound goes a long way.
Their jump packs or their jet bike infantry. shoot, jump.
Yeah,
I like it.
they're good. I like
I'm
them.
on board. Heavy destroyers. They're destroyers with last cannons.
They got better too. So
Canoptic experiments, like we said, identical. Nothing changes. Still create dudes, same thing as normal. Doomsight. We're gonna skip that. Doomsight got the nerf badge. It no longer is a ray; it's just a lance shot. Some people say that's better. I think that's worse.
yeah. Well, it is a blast.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's the little blast.
Yeah. I mean, it deals with a lot of rules issues, but it was fun. It was flavorful before they kind of took it away. So
Yeah. No. Monolith.
I like it.
Yeah, it's actually not terrible.
I like
Warp
two.
skies across the table. It no longer gets to eat people through its door. At start of its turn, it can pick a unit in reserves or on the table and infantry unit, and just warp it out its front door.
Yeah.
The biggest pain in the butt is you have to warp guys before you move at the start of the movement phase. You can't like move up 5 inches or 6 inches and then disembark guys.
Yeah, I like two of them. It gives you some options, especially later in the game. Your opponent has to constantly be thinking, is that troop unit, the OBSEC unit, going to be back in the back? Is it going to be by this monolith, And they have to plan for all these options.
4 hull point armor, 14. It's tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Annihilation margin went up in points. And obviously the nerf to Tesla. So they're big. They got a big
You're
kick in the
not
nuts.
gonna see that.
Doomsday Arc in theory got better. It made it so its profile when it shoots on the move is a little bit better. So at least now you're not like shoehorned into holy crap, I can never move this thing if I want to do something with it. So okay,
Still
fine.
a lot of points.
Yeah, don't ever build one if you build a Ghost Arc out of that kit.
Flip it upside down. Build the Ghost Arc.
So Transcendent Catan's the last heavy sport. We talked about them. They're Catans. They stink. You have 3 Lords of War in this book. First one is the Tesseract Vault. That's the big thing open. It still rolls on Catan powers, but it rolls so there's 2 different versions of each one. It rolls the more powerful one, surprise.
Double the range, better stats.
It's still 550 points for this thing.
Suffers from kind of the same issue that it's a random power.
Yeah.
Like,
The Obelisk. I'm actually not opposed to it. 300 points for Lord of War. The biggest problem is a lot of tournaments go no non-character Lords of War, so you're going to have a hard time running it. It does decent against flyers. It has the ability to make all flyers treat terrain as dangerous terrain. And it shoots a bunch of guns.
yeah, it's exactly what it seems like. It's a bigger monolith, and for once, the bigger version of it is still just really good.
And only at 300 points, and there's a cool formation for it.
Yeah.
Imhotep's there. He is now a Lord of War.
I'm not using points on him.
No, I agree. So when we're talking about a bunch of formations, this is what you're really going to hear a lot of people talk about. There's something called the Decurion detachment. And we will start with that. So you can take this cool thing called a Decurion detachment. You see this giant chart. So you can take a normal CAD and everything like that, or you can take a Decurion detachment. How a Decurion detachment works is you have to automatically take one formation, the Reclamation Legion. So this is the base formation that everything is built off of. It's one Overlord, and the Overlord has the option to be a couple other things. 0 to 2 Lich Guard, 1 to 4 Immortals, 2 to 8 Warriors, 1 to 3 Tomb Blades, 0 to 3 Monoliths. Then with that, you can take a Reclamation or a Royal Court, which is an Overlord, 1 to 3 Lords, 1 to 3 Cryptex.
It's a lot of characters.
Yes. Now you can take as many Reclamation Legions as you want, but for every Reclamation Legion you take, you must pick one of these other detachments.
I don't have a PhD. I can't read this graph.
Yeah. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other detachments, and you must pick one of them. So
with the Royal Court, that's 10 total detachments. 9 of them are, you must pick one of them. Royal Court's optional.
Yeah. So Reclamation Legion, let's talk about this first, because it's the core one if you're going to take the Decurion. First of all, I think the Decurion's really fun. I think it's going to give you problems if you're trying to take it in an actual tournament. I think it's a little too restrictive to what you have to take, and I think it's going to be tough to play in a tournament. But
I will say the basis of it isn't that unreasonable. So required, just the required stuff. one Overlord. You don't necessarily want him.
Well, because you have an
he's
option to
not
take a
that
Cadian
bad.
Command Barge, Xandrak, Tazaran the Infinite, or Ankir the Traveler can be your overlords.
So the mediocre characters.
Yeah, none of the good ones.
If Oracan was on this list, I'd be all over this.
Agreed.
Or even a Destroyer Lord.
So 0 to 2 Lich Guard. 0 is a good choice.
Yeah, 0. 1 to 4 Immortals. Immortals are fine.
Yeah.
They're good.
You gotta take 1, okay.
2 to 8 Necron Warriors. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm taking 2 anyway.
The problem is you're losing OBSEC, and we'll finish that, then we'll go to what the bonuses are for this.
How often are you not taking 2 Necron Warrior units?
True, but a lot of times you're trying to minimize troop, and now you're shorting to 3.
Okay. 1 to 3 Tomb Blades. Tomb Blades,
That's why
as
we said
are
you're
good.
going to see 54 points for 3 Tomb Blades pop up a lot.
Yeah, they're good.
And 0 to 3 Monoliths.
So,
Okay.
options. You can take
So,
0.
What's cool is, like we said, you don't get OBSEC. What you do get is you get the command benefit Ever Living. Models in this detachment with a reanimation protocol receive +1, and models with the living weapon rule ignore crew stunned and crew shaken,
Yeah. So,
but still lose a hull.
your whole army, you're giving up OBSEC. You pick up essentially better 4+ Feel No Pain. And yeah, ignoring crew stun, crew shaken is never a bad thing.
And what's interesting is that's what all of the formations gain that ability. And each formation, so Reclamation Legion itself lets you reroll 1 on Reanimation Protocol. So if you have Reclamation Legion into Curing Attachment, you have everything has a 4-up. Everything that has Reanimation Protocols has a 4-up rerolling 1s.
It's a durable army.
Yeah. So we'll quick go through these. Some of these are winners. Some of these are losers. And sprinkles are for winners. Judicator Battalion. It's a Triox Stalker unit and 2 Praetorian units.
Yeah. Triarch Stalkers, I kind of like. Praetorians, man.
Yeah, the problem is, so at the start of each controlling player's shooting phase, nominate 1 enemy unit within line of sight, and you get to reroll failed to hit and wounds and armor pens against it. The problem you run into is, again, the reason I said the Curating Detachment is a little rough is because you're like, oh, I want to take the Curating Detachment. But if you want a Trioc on your list, it has to come out of here. And the big problem is, we talked about how good Wraiths are. And if you want a Wraith, you have to take the Wraith detachment. And we will...
You run out of points real quick.
Yeah. So, Canoptic Harvest. Mandatory is 1 Tomb Spider. Not 1 unit. 1 Tomb Spider. Then a unit of Wraiths, a unit of Scarabs. And what it does is, at the start of each phase, choose one, or the controlling player's movement phase, choose one of the following special rules: Fleet, Reanimation Protocols, Shred, and any unit within 12 inches of the spider gets that. So if you can keep the spider nearby, you can jump your Wraiths into combat, give them Reanimation Protocols, and then they get +1 because they're Decurions, so they get a 4 Feel No Pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, the problem is you have to keep the one lonely spider alive and near everything. He is the loneliest of spiders.
You somehow have to keep this fast-moving Wraith unit next to the spider that doesn't move fast, and you're playing Warhammer 40k, so the spider's going to die.
Mm-hmm. The Destroyer one's not bad.
Yeah.
1 Destroyer Lord, 3 units of Destroyers, 0 to 1 Heavy Destroyers. Problem is it has to be 3 units of Destroyers, which is tough.
Well, Destroyers can go in single-man units, right? So.
Yeah. You can re-roll your... Oh, you get moved through cover, which is big.
Definitely.
So now you're not worried about that.
And
they get
White Scar Destroyers.
Yeah. And you get to reroll all failed wounds. Now all the destroyers already have preferred enemy, but okay, all failed wounds is nice. And armor pens.
Take you 3, it'll ruin bikes.
2 to 4 Doom Scythe is 1. The Deathbringer flight. We're just gonna skip that one.
You have to play Flight of the Valkyries every time you play that one.
Yes. The Living Tomb one's kind of neat. It's 1 Obelisk and 0 to 2 Monoliths. The cool thing is, the monoliths don't scatter on the deep strike.
Yes.
And you can choose that to come in turn 1. Right?
Which in turn bring in...
Drop pods. I mean, the drop pods.
No, in turn they bring in dudes through the doors.
Yeah.
So, they get to do fun stuff.
I'm sorry. They auto come in on 2nd turn.
Yeah.
They don't auto come in on 1. Okay. And you drop the obelisk in first, and then they don't scatter if they're within 12 of the obelisk.
Yeah. So you get to bring in a huge chunk of your army.
Yeah. Annihilation Nexus is a Doomsday Arc and 2 A barges.
Bunch of overcosted things. Got it.
Yeah. The Royal Court, like we said,
Mucho characters.
yeah.
Meh.
Yeah. They get moved through cover and relentless.
So overall, are you feeling CAD or are you feeling this?
I'd still run it as CAD because I want to spam rates.
Yeah.
If you're talking tournament play, CAD. If you're talking casual play, I think even
About
semi-tournament
half of
play.
those are pretty
Yeah,
good.
I've seen some decent Decurion lists already, and have created some that have been like, okay, I'll bring a Reclamation Legion.
Yep.
I'll bring the Death Cult, whatever it is for the destroyers, and I'll bring the Canoptic Wraith. And okay, because now all my destroyers have 4 Feel No Pains. Okay, I can get behind that. And my Tomb Blades have 4 rolling 1s, and I just bring more Tomb Blades in that list. And I just try to I have a bunch of movement 12 things and go, I'm fast Necrons now, have at me, bro.
I feel like GW did a pretty good job, actually, of kind of balancing this out. You have a lot of really durable units, and then you have units like Wraiths that just pack a punch, and they don't give up too much of that durability to do it.
No, I mean, you've got Flayed ones, and you got Wraiths. Wraiths obviously being the primary assault unit. Flayed ones aren't actually that terrible. Orokin the Diviner. You've got a lot of Warside options. You've got some decent punchy characters. Warriors and Immortals still aren't great. The biggest problem we run into is there's no Fearless in this book, which is tough.
Wraiths are fearless, aren't they?
Sorry, but they're fearless characters.
Oh, okay.
There's no way, and we talk about like running 20 warriors, and I like actually 20 warriors. They're super durable. 20 warriors with Orokin. I park them on an objective and go, I have a 4 rerollable Feel No Pain. Come at me.
Yeah, it is painfully hard to remove that unit.
And then you get assaulted by something that ignores your Feel No Pain, and even though it's only -1.
You monolith out.
Yeah, and then you get screwed because you fail leadership check and they run you down because you're lead 10, but you're not fearless. It's tough. I think the biggest hit the book took, Mind Shackle got nerfed. It is now they take a fear check on 3d6 in the edition that knows no fear. They take a fear check. I think losing the 2-up armor save is big.
Which they can still get one out of the Shield of Balls.
Yes, but the big thing is if you do that, you can't. You're then you're the Shield of Ball detachment. You're not a regular Necron 1.
The name's totally escaping me right now.
Yeah, right. You're not a normal Necron 1, which means you can't bring the upgrades that are in here. You can't bring the Reclamation Legion, things like that.
You give up a lot to get that 2-up armor.
Yeah. I think the biggest winners in this book are Wraiths. I think Wraiths and Ghost Arcs are the biggest things that went up.
Yep.
Orokin went up a lot. I think Warriors would be fantastic if they only had to be 5. The fact they have to be 10, I think, is a little bit of kick to them. I would love to run 9 guys Orokin in a Ghost Arc. Alas. Oh, and Ghost Arc still going to do all the reanimation stuff. We forgot to.
So what's your general idea for a list? If somebody wanted to go to a tournament right now, pick out a couple key units, how would you build the core of the army?
If you don't mind being spammy, 3 units of Wraiths, maxed out at 6 guys apiece, all coils. Some big units of Warriors, some Ghost Arcs, not necessarily putting the Warriors in the Ghost Arcs, but just because they're decent dedicated transports.
Okay.
And have at it. Hope you don't deal with a lot of things that fly, because whereas this book used to love to deal with things that flew, now it's anti-air got very nerfed. It was Night Scythe and Annihilation Barge where they're 2 big anti-air, and they just are significantly worse now because now you don't really want to jink with the Night Scythe, and the Annihilation Barge can't fly up and shoot a flyer in the butt with any kind of reliability.
All right. So overall, I think we're kind of on the same page. I would definitely like the big units of Warriors. I'd probably take 2 units of Wraiths and a unit of Tomb Blades because I like them.
Yeah.
Maybe a squad of Immortals, and then I like 2 Monoliths. I'm a big fan of the tricks you can do with it.
I agree. I think the Monoliths have a lot of room. You can do a lot of fun stuff with them. As I've seen, I've been playing with one, trying it out. I think you can do some cool stuff. It's not being able to consume things through your front door is kind of meh, but still got decent guns. It can auto fire at different locations. It's got the large blast.
It's got the guns, it's got the portal, it has options.
Yeah, and it's still, remember, in addition to where everything's scoring, it's still an armor 14 thing with 4 hull points that can park on an objective and go, okay.
Yeah, at the end of the day, still armor 14, still tough to
And
deal
because
with.
it's so big, it can park on an objective and you can't get up to deny it. So it stops those pesky Eldar players from trying to jump out last turn and jump on your objective, because you just park on it and go, you can't get within 3 inches of this objective.
Not without assaulting. And you're certainly not turbo boosting into assault.
Even when you're in base, I don't think you're in 3 inches of it. I think it's pretty big.
Maybe. I guess it depends how big the objectives are. But anyway, if anybody wants to get into Necrons, Matt, how would they go about ordering from Stomping Grounds?
Oh, yeah. You can call us or email us. You can email us at sales@sggamesandhobbies.com, or you can call us at 267-387-6719. We do discounts for everything. Everything's based 10% off at $150. It's 15% off at $225. Order, you get 20% off, free shipping, all that jazz.
Lots of good stuff. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking this out, guys. That was our Necron review. Make sure to check out our other videos. Have a good one.
Yep. Have a good night.